And so you said that you read the Bible 8 times.
Yes, from cover to cover. Yes, I did
That's
it.
amazing.
It took me about 2 years. I was averaging 2 years to
And,
do it.
and so did you become a Bible thumper?
I don't know what a Bible thumper is, but I do love that word. So if that's good, and that's me, I guess. But I don't know what a Bible thumper is. But but I do. I try to obey the word, and I live by the word.
So you never heard of a Bible thumper?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know what it means. I never used that term, so I don't. I mean, but I probably was been accused. I will tell you this much: I've probably been accused of being a Bible thumper, but I don't know what I don't. I never read in the Bible that thou should not be a Bible thumper. So no one's ever given me a clear definition of what that is. I've seen a movie actually where the woman took the Bible and hit somebody in the head across it. I've never done that, so I don't know what a Bible thumper is.
So a Bible thumper is a man or a woman who read the Bible all the time, and they learn it intellectually, and all they do is quote the scriptures, but their hearts have not been renewed. They don't know God, they just know about him.
Well, I will say that I do know about God, but more so I know about him because I keep his commandments. I mean, it says in John, and I'm going to quote the scripture here, but it clearly says in John 2 that if you know that you know him if you keep his commandments. So I do know him, but I live it. This is my lifestyle. This is part of our culture. I'm one of his people. So
Right.
I don't know if that's a bad thing, then that I don't mind being bad then.
Do you have anger?
Man.
Do you have anger?
Anger? I don't live with anger. I used to before I got delivered by the grace of God, but I don't live in anger, but I can get angry just like Yah gets angry when he sees things that are not right or pleasing in his sight, but I don't live with anger.
And so do you have anger?
When you say I have anger, what do you mean?
Do you have anger within you? Is it inside of you at all?
I can be angry, but I don't. I'm not if you know me, I'm not a guy that gets. It takes a lot to get me angry.
Right.
I'm very patient, I would say, but I can't get angry. But I haven't been angry in a long time. I think the last time I was truly angry is with my ex-wife, but other than that.
Yeah.
I don't live like that. I live such a peaceful life. The last 3 or 4 years, I've been in the way, keeping the commandments of Yah. I've been around people who are like-minded, who loves Jesus. So if anything, I live a life of peace.
Is it normal for a man to get angry?
Is it normal? It depends on what it is. If somebody's sleeping with your wife, you will be angry. That's a natural response.
But why would you get angry about that?
Because he's being transgressed against, and so that's a natural thing. But the Bible's, I don't know what angle you're coming from, but according to the word, it says, "Be angry, but sin not." So it's not a sin to get angry. Anger. When I think of anger, and I know what you're talking about, I think, but when I think of anger, I think of a trigger. It's a trigger. So that means something is an unmet expectation. So if something is not being met that you expect, that's what will cause you to be angry. So really, when you get angry, you should look back to see what's causing it. Anger is a secondary emotion. So whatever the primary is, that's really where the root is. So it's kind of like a barometer on a car. I know my car is on E because the thing went to E. So now I know what's going on in the tank. So
Right.
Anger just means that something is going on that's a conflict or whatever that is. So I don't live like that anymore, but I once did. I mean, there was a time in my life for almost 40, I'll say 30 something years that I did live with that type of anger, but I have been delivered by the grace of Yah from that, from living in anger. That football was a great tool for me to be able to get my anger out on people. So I couldn't take it out on people. But in the game, I got paid millions of dollars to take my anger out on somebody, and the fans go crazy and everything like that. But you can't live like that. It's not healthy, and I don't recommend that.
And so is it normal, abnormal for a man to have anger, period?
If you say it's normal, that is the norm out there. I mean, people live in anger. That is the norm. I don't think it's healthy.
So are you saying, yes, it's normal for a man to have anger?
When you say normal, that is the norm.
I know,
But
but
I
I'm
don't.
asking, is it normal for a man to have? I realize that it is, quote unquote, the norm nowadays, but is it
Yeah,
normal for a man to have anger?
I don't think it's natural for us to live because Yah did not create us to be angry. He did not create us to be that way. But it is normal because you got people, women not in their roles. You got children growing up without fathers in their home. So there's a lot of stuff, people being molested or abused. And so when you have that, you're going to be, you have a propensity to live in anger. And a lot of people are wounded from their childhood. And so because of that, that's why that's why it's the norm. But I think the right question is it natural? It's not natural. Just like there's a lot of stuff that people do that are not natural, that's now the norm.
So, how did you become angry? You weren't born angry. How did you become angry?
I think because of the things that I perceived that were childhood wounds, from, rejection from the womb, rejection from mom, not meeting those expectations, just being hurt, being rejected. I was picked on, people made fun of my name, says your parents was drunk when they named you Kabeer or Nigerian booty scratcher, I mean, these are stuff that I grew up with growing up. So even though I was quote unquote black, I grew up in the environment, huh?
I said, what the?
Yeah. So I grew up in an environment where I got picked on, made fun of just because I was different. So even though we looked the same, but because of I couldn't hide that I'm a Nigerian descendant. My parents, I wasn't good at, I could speak English, but I wasn't like, it's just a different culture. So even though I grew up, around American folks and stuff like that, but I had a different culture. I had a Nigerian culture that I grew up with more
Right.
so.
Did you know that any male that has anger is a woman?
I did not know that. No. So that means y'all a woman too?
That's the nature of a woman when a man has, you know how God said we must be born again?
Yes.
And so what he's saying is that we are born innocent, but we are born into a screwed up family where the
Okay.
mother, the fact that you're born through the woman and Satan is her daddy, you're going to take on part of her nature anyway because you're born of the water and blood and water. And so you take on the woman's nature because Satan is the woman's daddy. And then what the mother tends to do is impose her will on you when you're a kid, and she causes you to become angry. She'll turn you away from your father. She imposes her will. And when you become angry, you become like her. You take on her nature, and you become angry like a female. You have an illogical mindset. And when they turn you away from the father, you take on their identity. And that's why we must be born of the Spirit, so that we can return to the Father. And when we return to the Father, then we no longer have anger. We have a logical mindset instead of an illogical mindset, which is a logical mindset is of the Father. Illogical mindset is of the woman. That's why we must be born again of the Father. There will come a day when I return the children to the fathers and the father to the children. You must be born of the Spirit. You're first born of water and blood. Now you must be born of the Spirit, which is of the Father.
Interesting.
Isn't that
There's some
deep?
things, yeah,
Isn't that deep?
there's some things in there that I agree with and some things I don't agree with.
What part of that you don't agree with?
You said a lot there. It was a mouthful, but I think the part that I don't agree with is that being angry means you're a woman, because if
It's a
that's the
female
case,
nature. You're not like a woman. You're still a male, but you have the woman's identity. Your mother took your father's identity away by imposing her will on you and caused you to become like her by making you angry.
so when Jesus turned the table over, he was acting like his mother, or like a woman,
No,
and
because he wasn't. Jesus was not of the flesh, he was of the Spirit. He was created in his Father's image. And so he was logical, and you can take strong action without being angry. Matter of fact, you're going to always take the right action when you're not angry. So he was logical. He had discernment. And so he saw evil and dealt with it. But angry people overreact, and they carry, because all people who have anger judge, and all those who judge are playing God, and all those who play God are sinning. And
You're
that's
saying
why
you're saying it's okay for Yah or God, I don't know, when I say Yah, I'm saying Yahweh, but when you're saying, is it okay for God to be angry? Because there's many times, not many times, but Moses stopped him and said, please remember what you promised when he wanted to destroy Israel for worshiping and idols and things like that. So I'm just saying God
No, he was
himself.
never angry like a human anger. Human anger is of the devil, but he was discerned. He was of discernment. He can see injustice and deal with it.
You're gonna have to show me that one in the Bible. I don't know if anger is from the devil. I know that man can get angry.
If you notice, there's no love in anger.
That's not true.
Where's the love in anger?
How there's love and anger?
Where is love and anger?
I'll say that when you love somebody, I mean, because the people that can cause me to get angry the most are the ones that I love, the ones that I'm the closest to. Somebody off the street calling me something or what, that really doesn't bother me. I've been called, even on the football field. I remember a guy called me a nigger. Right. And I just kind of laughed because I know he's just trying to. He talk about my mama. I don't even know this guy. He just tried to get me to jump off sides or do something crazy. So those things don't bother me. But when somebody that you have expectations of and have a committed relationship, it could be a father, a son relationship, a wife, a husband relationship. When they let you down, that's when anger. I notice in me when that can happen.
But that would not happen if you had no expectation of them. You love them with the Father's love, with no expectation. And so if they turn against you, it wouldn't matter. You can take it or leave it. Because real love has no expectation from anyone. It comes through the Father, through Christ, through the man, to the woman, to the children. And so you're giving out love because your love comes from God and you have no expectation. So if your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, your friends turn against you, it wouldn't bother you. You can take it or leave it because your identity comes direct from God and not anyone or anything else.
Well, once again, I would have to disagree. I hear what you're saying because I used to think more like you, but for example, I have a woman, what the world would call a wife, but I have a woman who I have a son with, and I expect her to obey me. When she doesn't obey me, it could cause me to be angry or upset with that. So I have expectations of people to do things now, and there's nothing wrong with that. Say, hey, how come you didn't, when I told you to do something, I expect you to do it. Yeah. And if it's not meant, there's nothing wrong with having.
But you're supposed to correct your wife, but not with anger, with perfect love. Because what you don't realize is that the woman's God is Satan, and the man's God is God. But what happened is when your mother caused you to become angry, the woman become your God. And that's why men can't deal with women in the right way until they overcome their mothers, because every woman you get involved with is mama. You become attracted to what you hate, and so you're subject to that you hate. So that's why men, when they get involved with women, they become the boy and she become the mama because they have not overcome their mothers.
Well, Jesus got angry when people wouldn't even have faith. And he says, bring the boy to me when when they said he couldn't heal somebody. He said, how long must I be with you? Bring him to me. Now, when we watch movies, they may make it tone it down, but Jesus, he actually berated his disciples, basically cussed them out, and got on them. And when I say cussed them out, not cursing, but he got on them very harshly. Even the Bible says rebuke sharply. So I hear what you're saying. I think that you can't sin in anger. That's true. But to be angry in itself is not a sin. It's how you respond in your anger.
But it's a spirit that made a home in you that came through your mother, and you have no control of it because of ourselves we can do nothing, and of ourselves we know nothing. So you cannot control the spirit. That's why you have to return to the Father, and then greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. He would take care of the spirit.